Hello friends, welcome back to another video from Shomu's Biology. In this video, I am going to analyze the CSIR NET question paper. The CSIR NET, that is the exam that is conducted in January, February 17th. So the CSIR NET exam which is conducted on February 17th, the question paper is out by NTA and I'm going to analyze the question paper. I'm going to tell you what I feel about the question. And also I'll tell you an approximate mark scale that will be required for you to get qualified for the CSIR NET examination as a JRF as well as an LS. So stay tuned and watch the video completely. Alright, so without any further delay, let me tell you one thing, the very basic thing that I saw in the first shift exam paper. Okay, I'll be explaining only about the first shift paper because that's what I got and that's what I saw. So in the first shift paper, I found out few things modified, few things are changed than the past few examinations. So I'm going to share that with you. Usually we say that the unit 2 and unit 12 is not that important in terms of asking questions in CSIR NET examination, but this time this is totally different. Unit 2 and unit 12 become really important for CSIR NET and they've asked a lot of questions from those chapters. And unit 1, unit 13, which they're supposed to get more questions, they snubbed it, and that's what happened with unit 1 and unit 13. So first I'll tell you about what I feel about the usual marks distribution for the different units. Then I'll talk about the different topics that they ask question for and different units and different groups. So for example, unit 1, they tend to ask less number of questions from unit 1 than they used to. For unit 2, they ask good number of questions. Cell biology questions were good. So if you prepare it a little bit and moderately, you could have answered it all. Unit 3, they asked a lot of questions, particularly from replication, transcription portion in part B as well as in part C, and also related to the modifications of the RNA in eukaryotes and all. Okay, and unit 4, it is surprising, unit 4, generally they ask more questions from immunology, cancer biology, those things, but this time they snubbed immunology and they asked a lot of questions from cancer biology in both part B as well as in part C. So if you prepared cancer biology well, you could have answered a lot of questions. And apart from that, cell signaling questions are quite common in unit 4 this time. Unit 5, very good. They ask a lot of questions from unit 5. From Drosophila genetics particularly less, but from other aspects also they have asked a lot of questions. Unit 6, very good. It's always good. They ask a lot of questions every single year. This time also they have asked a lot of questions. Now the surprising thing is unit 7, because I always tell students that don't read unit 7 that much because the number of questions they ask is less and also a lot of time need to be devoted. But for unit 7 this time, if you prepared some basic topics, some basic concepts, you could have answered some 3-4 questions from unit 7, which is kind of a good scale in case of unit 7 preparation. Unit 8 snubbed. This time unit 8 is something that they have overlooked, right? Because I've seen the question from genetics a little bit here and there, molecular genetics 1 or 2, which is tagged with unit 2 and 3, but the hardcore Mendelian, non-Mendelian inheritance, they haven't asked much questions from that. So they snubbed it and there is no pedigree problems there. Unit 9, very important this time, and this is another surprising thing for me because unit 9 is something which cannot be classified separately because it's classification biology and also cladogram analysis and all. But here unit 9, what we know is that this time they have asked a lot of questions related to cladogram, particularly in part B. There are 3-4 questions related to the relationship cladogram, phenogram, dendrogram, all these relationship problems, and also in part C there is a problem. So unit 9 they have asked a lot of questions, and particularly they tagged it with plant classical botany, and in many questions you may need to understand the way these different plants came to existence in planet, as well as you need to know the scientific names. So this is something difficult for non-botany students for unit 9. Unit 10, again a disappointment. Generally they ask a lot of questions from unit 10. In this case they have asked a lot of questions in part B, but in part C the number of questions from unit 10 is far less this time. Unit 11, again very low, very less number of questions. Basically I haven't found a direct simple question from unit 11, so that is snubbed for in both part B as well as in part C. Now unit 12, very important this time. In shift 1 there are a lot of questions from unit 12, particularly I found like in part B there are also 5-6 questions, part C also 5-6 questions that is related to agricultural biotechnology. Okay, and the techniques used in agricultural biotechnology, they have asked a lot of questions in unit 12 from unit 12. Now unit 13, again they have snubbed unit 13 this time. They have asked less number of questions from unit 13 both in part B as well as in part C, although there are some questions in part C and also 1 or 2 questions I found in part B solo from unit 13. So unit 13 is snubbed. So unit 13 Unit 11, 10, part of unit 1 and immunology portion, unit 8, these are snubbed. So kind of biased paper, I can say. They are biased towards 7 to 8 units this time than the rest of the units, and this is bad. This is not good. This is not called as a good paper, a good question paper. Good question paper means it will be a mixture of questions from all the units. That's what CSIR is supposed to do. That's what CSIR has been doing for long. So I believe they have created this paper in pressure, or I don't know, they need to make 2 shifts out of it. So I don't know how they shuffle the questions and all, but this is not a good way to construct a paper as per my opinion. Now let me tell you about the different parts, part A, B and C. Part A, what I found out is that 9 question out of 20 I found out is from general aptitude and reasoning, so which you can solve, which you can answer from your IQ. You don't need to rely on mathematical formula. So it's kind of 40% of the questions, and that is good. If you can answer 8 questions with your IQ, you could have get 16 marks. Rest of the questions are like math, arithmetic type and formula based. That's different. About the part B. The part B, if you can check, as I mentioned, the part B questions. In part B, the units which are more important, there are more questions from is unit 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 and 12. These are biased towards towards part B questions. And I've seen question from unit 1, unit 1 or biochemistry, and protein biochemistry question, they've asked some of that. And in unit 9, phylogenetic relationships, they have asked questions, and from unit 4 they have asked cancer biology questions, not any kind of immunology or those kind of questions. So this is some thing that we found out from part B. Now in part C, again, what I can tell, they're biased towards unit 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 and also 12, a part of 12, and they have asked a lot of questions from cell signaling as well as cell cycle regulation and control of cell cycle related to cancer and cancer biology. Very, very important as per this question paper. They have also asked a lot of questions from DNA replication, transcription and translation. They have asked a question from titration of amino acid, that part of biochemistry. And they have snubbed immunology, they have snubbed Mendelian inheritance, they have snubbed pedigree problems and those things in part C. So these are the 3 different sections, and as I mentioned, biased. So now final thought, final verdict, what I believe. As first thing I said that this is a biased question paper. So those who prepared the topics which are like unit 1, 2, 3, some part of 4 cancer biology, then 5, 6, 7 and 12, they will have answered a lot of questions. They can answer more questions, and those who haven't prepared those units, those who left with those units for the preparation, then they will find it difficult. So that's why when I asked my students, few said that they have like the exam was good, few said the exam was very bad. The reason is that those who like depend on which units you have prepared well, because it's not always possible to prepare all the 13 units. So those prepared from the units they are biased towards have a good exam, and those haven't prepared it had a bad exam. So that is the idea, that is what's happening actually with it. And please don't ask me for the shift 2 because I haven't seen shift 2 papers. So I believe this will be similar like that, so please don't come and like talk about the shift 2 and all, but that's what I found out about shift 1 paper. And what I can say from this is that this is a balanced idea, because many people had a good exam, many people had a bad exam. So what will be the cutoff? So for me, like what I can say is that simply I'll tell you the cutoff for general category only for JRF and LS. Now rest of the category calculations you can do that, and I can put it at the end of this video. You can see my calculation scale based on previous year's question papers. So what I can believe is that it's not going to be very high. The cutoff is not going to be very high or very low. So I think near about 58%, that is 116, is going to be the cutoff for the JRF, considering the fact that the number of people applied is huge, considering the fact, otherwise the cutoff will be less. So I'll go with 112 to 116. This is something my cutoff will be for a general category JRF, and for a general category LS my cutoff will be near about 100 to 104. Okay, so this should be my general category cutoff. Now for other categories, watch the end. I'll attach the screenshot for that. Okay, all right, so this is going to be my predicted expected cutoff for this February 17th conducted exam, February 17, 2022 CSIR NET life science examination. So here I have the cutoff for JRF as well as for LS, but remember one thing, this cutoff is based on the percentage values and not based on the NTA score. So if you're checking with NTA score, then this value will be different. But if you're checking with the exact marks percentage, then this is going to be the cutoff expected. For life science JRF unreserved 56%, EWS 47, OBC 46.5, SC 40%, ST 34.5, and physically handicapped 28%. Similarly for LS cutoff, the unreserved 51%, EWS category 44, OBC 43.5, SC 37, ST 32, and physically handicapped 25%. And remember, this is more important, that unreserved category where most of the people will be applying for. My predicted cutoff should range from a 54 to 57% for JRF life science, and 50 to 52% for LS life science. Okay, so that's all about it. And again, this is my opinion, and please let me know what you think about the question paper and what you think about the biasness of the question. And seriously, we don't want this biasness in the years to come, because CSIR NET questions supposed to be well combined, right? So that's all for today. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share this video with your friends and colleagues so that they get to know about that more, as well as please mention in the comment section what do you think about this question paper, shift 1 paper. And if I get hands on to the shift 2 papers, I'll also talk about that later. But that's all about the CSIR NET question paper analysis. Thank you. Bye.